The Free Agents podcast contains mature themes and adult language. Any discussion of gambling is for entertainment purposes only. Please abide by all laws in your location regarding gambling.
This should be our intro. Can we start?
This week on The Free Agents.
If you go to Vegas right now at the Orleans Sportsbook, you can still get New Orleans at 12-1.
Like if you have ADD and they give you a prescription for Adderall or Ritalin, those drugs are essentially, drugs that are just like methamphetamines, and that you will get positive tests in your drug testing for amphetamines if you take Adderall or Ritalin.
Well, as a person who has, people from Detroit on their fantasy team, this is a week that you could, count on Reggie Bush and Johnson and Stafford and the rest of the folks there to put up some numbers for you. Because Green Bay, I'm sorry, they're just not going to stop folks this year again.
Welcome to the Free Agent Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Joe Smarge. Joining us this week, as always, John Boudreau, LJ. How are you doing this week?
I am in the baseball kind of mood right now. One-game playoffs are ruling the day.
Yeah, I got baseball fever, LJ.
Sudden death. It's sudden death baseball. You don't have that usually. And sudden death baseball seems to be a lot of fun. Did you watch the game last night, Cincinnati and the Pirates?
I caught a good portion of the middle of the game. Unfortunately, I was having some problems getting the satellite feeds just right, so I had a little trouble with that. But I did catch a good portion of the game. It was just awesome. The Pirates just blowing up all over the place. I couldn't believe it.
Russell Martin hit 2 home runs last night.
Yeah.
Russell Martin, viva la Canada.
Yeah, it was
Russell
just great.
Martin.
To have, the end of the season, have these games, and they really do matter. I mean, maybe they shouldn't matter so much if you're out of market like I am, I'm more of a Red Sox fan, but it matters to me because we're going to see who the Sox will end up playing as we go down the stretch, and there's some interesting possibilities that could emerge out of all this.
Well, I actually, as just a fan of sports, it's fun to watch a sudden death game. It's fun to watch when it's all on the line and these guys that actually want to win are in there.
Yeah.
And you watch the late season moves. Like Marlon Byrd hit the home run to open up the scoring last night in that game. And he was, just to think about it, he was on the Mets 3 months ago. He went from 0 to hero in a short period of time. And for a career, Byrd is 30 whatever. He's had a career of just being kind of a role player to step up front and center and be a big piece on a playoff team. That's big for a guy like him.
Yeah, every year we get one of these stories now out of the playoffs where some random player that we thought may have been on the scrap heap or his career is just not trending upwards very much, just sort of gets resurrected with a new team, new possibilities. Maybe he finds a spot in a lineup that's already strong, and so he doesn't, pressure about hitting and stuff may not be the same. And it's great to watch. These guys just come out of nowhere and play.
He's their cleanup hitter.
Yeah.
He's been in the league 11 years, and he's 30 years old. He's their cleanup hitter right now. So they're not holding back with him. They're like, all right, Marlon, we're going to put you right into the mix. And it worked. It worked well for him last night. The Pirates are being rewarded for all the moves they made this year. And Francisco Liriano, I don't know, man. This is a guy that's had an incredible run this year. He had a bad stretch towards the end of the year, and he came through in that playoff last night. Gave up a run with 5 strikeouts in 7 innings. And Johnny Cueto couldn't live up to didn't do it in the 1-game spot. 3 innings, 8 hits, and he was done.
No, Johnny Cueto was not the answer in this game, unfortunately. He's just not – he's one of those guys where he can pitch brilliantly or he looks horrible and he's a little inconsistent. So he's not necessarily the most rock-solid guy you want going into a must-win game. But, they're still a great team, and it was just great. It was just a great game to watch, so.
And then tonight, we've got two basically rookies, Danny Salazar for the Indians and Alex Cobb for the Tampa Bay Rays, who I think are the team built to win in the playoffs. If they get to the playoffs, they have to be considered one of the favorites. Because Evan Longoria performs very well in the playoffs, 3 for 3 the other night in that one game play-in with a home run. He seems to step up every year when it's postseason time. And Alex Cobb's had a huge year. 11-3, 2.76 ERA, and 134 strikeouts, and that's only on part of the year. Salazar had a short stint, 2-3 with a 3.12 ERA and 65 strikeouts. So you got to say Tampa Bay's the favorite tonight, right?
Oh, they certainly are. Like on paper, when you look at it, they are a favorite, but I don't think you can count Cleveland out at all. I mean, this team looks like they can scrape by and they can put a win together. So it's just going to be, I'm going to be glued to this all night. I don't know. I can't call the game. Like I would not put money on that game because it's going to be close.
The Indians are 4-2 against the Rays this year.
That's exactly right, LJ. That's why I would not, I would not count the Indians out of this at all. This is going to be a blood and guts, baseball game.
Small sample size. The Indians were hitting really well towards the beginning of the year, and Masterson was playing much better at the beginning of the year before he got hurt. So the Indians, they took advantage of that easy schedule towards the end of the year. They had the easiest schedule in baseball, and they won the games they had to win to get into this playoff. They
certainly did. They took care of business. No doubt.
You got to give them credit where credit is due. So, any other predictions? I mean, who do you want to play, Smarge, as a Red Sox fan?
Well, both these teams really are scary to face in the playoffs if you're the Red Sox. You know, I think the most compelling story is if Cleveland wins here and we get to play against Cleveland. I mean, how awesome would that be to have Terry Francona and the whole thing? Like, that would be just LJ, we could do like 4 shows a week. Like that whole week.
Really?
Oh yeah.
I don't know about all that. I mean,
it'd be amazing.
I mean, Francona went out of town and everybody trashed him on the way out of town. So if I'm Terry Francona, I'm not happy with the Red Sox. But I mean, I don't know who's the best player in the Cleveland Indians lineup? Is it Jason Kipnis? Carlos Santana? Who were there? Because Michael Bourne, Nick Swisher. This is a team that on paper just looks like it shouldn't even be where it's at.
Yeah, but they're a tough team. They know how to at the end of the day, I think they know how to win games. I don't know. They won 92 games. I can't. You can't discount that.
I look at this lineup and I wonder.
All right, let's get the roster here, LJ. Hold on, just give me a second here. We'll grab the Indians roster.
I'm looking at the lineups they got for tonight. The lineups are already posted for tonight's game. They're on ESPN. I'm looking at the lineups right now.
Now, yeah, you rattle off all those names and you're like, meh, But I mean, Carlos Santana. I mean, you've got some guys.
Well, Kipnis and Santana are their two best players. The rest of them, I mean, Rayburn is as streaky as they come. Swisher's streaky. Bourne hasn't been that good. They got this kid Gomes, but he's young and he's catching. Santana's DHing, so that allows him a couple of power bats in the lineup. Both of those guys can hit for power. But I mean, against Will Myers and Evan Longoria are better than Kipnis and Santana. And then Zobrist just clinches it, and at least in my eyes, makes the Tampa Bay lineup better. And I think the Tampa Bay pitching staff, I mean, Cobb has an advantage over this kid Salazar, I'm pretty sure. So, on paper, Tampa Bay looks like they should clearly win this game.
Well, like I said, they are the obvious favorite, but
of course, Nick Swisher's probably going to hit some sort of 3-run home run to make me look bad tonight.
Well, speaking of looking bad, we're gonna stick with baseball, but I want to, I just want to come out and I will, I'm someone who's willing to admit when they're wrong. And last week I was really strong on Miami over New Orleans, and that was just awful. So I apologize to the listeners for just completely getting that pick wrong, and I just want to get that out of the way.
And while everybody else this weekend made a shit ton of money gambling on New Orleans.
Yeah.
they were like one of them in Kansas City. I was listening to Bob Scucci talking about who's getting the most play in Vegas right now, and Kansas City's actually been getting all the play right now. And you can still get 12-1 odds on New Orleans for the Super Bowl. If you go to Vegas right now at the Orleans Sportsbook, you can still get New Orleans at 12-1.
Well, that's pretty good value there, LJ.
That's huge value. I mean, them and Seattle have to be the odds-on favorite as of right now at this point in time in the NFC. Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong, LJ, and I don't think it's too late. We're only a quarter way through the season, so I think it's early enough to get on the New Orleans bandwagon. Because they just seem like they're playing. They're a great team again this year. I don't know.
Rob Ryan's made the defense better, folks.
Yeah,
they've only given up 55 points this year.
Well, and that's what baffles me is they have a lot of injuries on the defense, and those guys aren't coming back anytime soon. A lot of them.
That hasn't affected it. So,
I know. That's what it just defies logic. Like, I don't think.
I mean, listen to Smarge. New Orleans has given up 55 points. Seattle, the best defense in the league, has given up 47. That's it. And Indianapolis has given up, Indianapolis' defense has only given up 51, but they played Jacksonville, so we always grade on a curve with anybody who's played Jacksonville.
Yes, always grade Jacksonville on that curve.
We have to talk about my Denver Bronco theory right now.
All right.
The Denver Broncos, they look amazing so far this year, correct?
Yes, the Denver Broncos look like one of the best teams in the AFC. Probably the number one team in the AFC.
The offense is getting compared to great all-time offenses and everything else, correct?
Yes.
All right. Now they played Baltimore. Is Baltimore any good?
I think Baltimore is slightly above mediocre.
They're not even that.
If that.
They're not even that.
I think they're capable of being that with the team that they have, but they're not playing to that level.
Mediocre. They're not even mediocre.
No, they're
right now because they don't have anybody that can catch the ball.
Yep.
I mean, they're the odds-on, they're the defending Super Bowl champions, and they're 2-2 in a bad division, and it's only going to get worse for them. So they're bad. Now, that was the first game of the season. Denver handily beat them 49-27. Then they played the Giants. Are the Giants at all good this year?
No, the Giants have been one of the worst to play, like one of the worst teams in the league.
All right. Then they played the Oakland Raiders. Are the Raiders any good?
The Raiders are awful. Yeah, no, all these teams are awful, LJ.
And then they played the Eagles.
Yep.
And the Eagles have the worst defense ever.
Yes.
I think ever created. So I think we're overhyping Denver, and I think the hype is going to continue because they play Jacksonville, then Indy. The toughest game they have on their schedule is going to be Kansas City November 17th. They play Jacksonville. They play at Indianapolis. They play Washington. They play San Diego. Okay, San Diego and Kansas City, and then New England, and then Kansas City. So they have a tough run there.
At the end of the season.
But leading up to their bye week, they're going to have one tough game, and that's Peyton Manning going back to Indianapolis to play on a Sunday night. But other than that, they're going to be against these porous defenses. And as Bill Simmons likes to point out, and everybody else who's paid attention to Peyton Manning, when it gets cold, Peyton doesn't play as well.
No, the cold weather's tough on him.
That's just a matter of fact.
It's
so
true.
it's gonna be chilly that Sunday night, November 24th, when they go to New England. It's gonna be chilly December 1st when they go to Kansas City. But it's not gonna be chilly towards the end of the year when they play in Oakland. So
no,
the chilly factor is not gonna come into play. I'm just saying that we may be overrating Denver, and there may be value in betting against them finishing to win the Super Bowl right now. There's a way to bet against them right now. To winning the Super Bowl, I would bet against them.
Yeah. There's got to be a way to fade that.
There's just too much that's gone right for Denver so far. They're like the luck box at the card table.
Well, you could spread some futures on the other division teams to like win the division or make it to a conference game or something like that, and that would essentially be hedging against.
Well,
Denver,
I'm looking, yeah, and I'm also looking to who is going to emerge as the team that we don't think. I mean, last year, if you looked at the first 4 weeks of the season, the teams that were good did not end up being the ones that went to the Super Bowl. I mean, the season nowadays is broken down into 4 quarters. Bill Barnwell wrote about that on Grantland today. And if you go by the first 4 games, the next 4 games, it's easier to judge when you break it down into quarters.
Yes.
So, yes, Denver's won this first quarter of the season. Kansas City's been a huge surprise. And I'd say if you're betting futures, I'd say look at San Diego. They have an offensive line that's faced injuries but keeps Phillip Rivers upright, and they seem to be adjusting and winning tough games. And keep an eye on them. Keep an eye on Kansas City because that defense is huge, and Andy Reid's been to the Super Bowl before.
Yes.
I don't see anybody. Cleveland has to be just baffling everybody's minds right now. They trade away Trent Richardson and they get better.
Yeah, that's some crazy stuff going on there.
That's got to be just confusing the hell out of everybody. And Vegas loves it because Cincinnati was favored by a small amount and a ton of public money went to Cincinnati and Vegas cleaned up on that, and they cleaned up the week before, when Cleveland and Minnesota played. So that's just ridiculous. I don't know. We're going to go over the lines this week?
Yeah, we can go through the lines, LJ. There's some other NFL just general things you want to hit on. I've been watching all this drama unfold in Tampa Bay over all kinds of Greg Schiano and all the staph infections and stuff, and the kicker and all this stuff is ridiculous.
Dude, they leaked that Josh Freeman was in that first step of the NFL substance abuse program.
Yeah, that's slimy.
Where about 90% of the NFL is anyway.
Yeah.
That's the joke is like they leaked it, but it's not really a leak because it's a pretty known fact that most of the players get kind of wrapped up into it. If you have mental health issues, you get in there. If you have any issues, you end up in that program. This is Schiano being a scumbag.
Yeah.
And I hope Lovie Smith gets his job sooner rather than later.
I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen there, LJ. It's so grimy.
I heard rumor that Lovie Smith, the former Bears coach, the defensive guru, the man that could take that defensive talent that's already in Tampa Bay and turn it into something magical. That would be an interesting mix. It's time for Schiano to go. His ego's gotten the best of him. He's out of control.
Yeah, they got to get him out of there. And
you gotta let him go.
It's absolutely disgusting, And I just want to say, LJ, I have a problem. This is where I start having a problem with the drug testing. Is that, what you're saying about these, a lot of the players who have mental health issues end up in this substance abuse, the substance program or whatever, right? It's crazy because a lot of what it is, and people don't realize it, is that a lot of the things that these people are being legally prescribed to deal with a lot of their issues, like if you have ADD and they give you a prescription for Adderall or Ritalin, those drugs are essentially, drugs that are just like methamphetamines, and that you will get positive tests in your drug testing for amphetamines if you take Adderall or Ritalin. And they discriminate for that, and so that's the thing, is that's what these guys need to function, and they're basically screwing with it.
NFL doesn't leak it. That's why the NFL keeps this stuff a secret, and that's why Greg Schiano's a scumbag. It's time for everybody to just say it. Greg Schiano's a scumbag, and he should have been fired, and Josh Freeman should not have been benched for this kid Glennon, who looked awful.
Yeah, that kid was a mess.
Yeah,
he wasn't ready to play.
And Josh Freeman at one point looked really good. People forgot how good Josh Freeman looked. For 1 season and a half, he looked really good. like one of the close to the top of the second tier of quarterbacks at one point in time. And with Vincent Jackson and the other weapons there, they still have potential to be a winner. You just need to throw Schiano out of there. Get rid of him.
Yeah, I agree, LJ. And I also, the thing with, I don't know, this wasn't as big a story, but I still think this is pretty awful. The whole story about the kicker who they basically put him on, basically on injured reserve, like non-injured reserve. Like he got a staph infection training at the facility because he was the tryout kicker for the start of the season. It was Lawrence Tynes, veteran kicker.
Yeah,
ends up with a staph infection because he's there at the facilities that they scrubbed out like 3 times and couldn't get clean. And they basically say that he had a non-football related injury. And so they're going to sandbag him for all his pay. And the Players Association, thankfully, has launched a grievance against the team.
I would too.
Garbage.
That.
They're trying to sandbag him because they can't keep their facilities clean. That's ridiculous. There's no excuse for that. None.
It'd just be awful. Awful. But that's typical of corporations.
That's typical profiteering. So let's get to the lines. Maybe we can make some profits. I don't know. But just keep in mind, this is all just for fun. This is not financial advice. This is not gambling advice. This is all just for fun to see if we actually get anything right, or if we're just like everyone else and can't pick anything.
I'll take anyone's bet.
I'll put the house on Cleveland.
I will take anyone's bets as long as we're betting Oreos.
Okay. Oreos or M&Ms are cool. That's fun.
M&M. I'll bet M&Ms too. I like M&Ms.
So I'm guessing, LJ, you would not put the
How many
house
Oreos
on Cleveland.
are we going to put on Cleveland this week?
I wouldn't. They're the home favorite here by 4 points.
I'm going to
facing Buffalo.
I'll put 20 Oreos on Cleveland.
Yeah, Buffalo looks pretty bad. They're in some disarray over there, huh?
They're not the best team out there. I mean, Buffalo has some issues. They've got a little bit of talent, but they're not a good team. And Cleveland's defense has been playing well, and Joe Hayden looks like he's going to be a legit superstar cornerback. So if you have Stevie Johnson, I wouldn't exactly count on him to be a huge superstar for you in fantasy this week. I wouldn't count on anything in Buffalo's offense, really, this week. And I would bet the under, even at 41. I would still go under in this game.
Yeah, I think the under looks pretty good there. Do you play, if you're like me, do you play CJ Spiller? Or does Cleveland just eat
unless you have you probably don't have a better option. Spiller's your number one back, so you're probably going to have to play him.
Well, he's my 2. I have Reggie Bush.
Oh, yeah. Well, then, but I mean, you don't have
No, I don't have anyone behind him. I don't have, like, Giovanni Bernard or anyone.
Spiller, you have to play Spiller. If you had a better option, if you had, like, a DeMarco Murray or someone else that you drafted a little later, yeah, you throw him in differently. But if you have to play Spiller, you're stuck with it. I mean, right now, there's people that are looking at their shitty quarterback they drafted late, and they're wondering, do I take a chance on Brian Hoyer? I say it's time to take a chance on Brian Hoyer.
Yeah, if you're really sort of stuck for quarterback, you didn't end up with a good quarterback in your draft. Sure, take a flyer on him. See what he does. The Buffalo defense is awful, so they're perfectly they could give up significant yardage to any offense.
True, and the Cleveland coaching staff has adjusted the offense, so Hoyer releases the ball very quickly. It's almost elementary.
Yeah, they have a scheme in place that he's more comfortable playing.
They've really adjusted the team to fit him. And they have some people that can catch the football. Jordan Cameron, whatever we're calling him, has been a stud at tight end, and Josh Gordon's back. And this is a team I could say it right now, could end up winning the NFC North after trading away Trent Richardson. Wacky.
Yeah, crazy stuff.
Right,
addition by subtraction. Now, here's another head scratching game. We got Philadelphia at the Giants, and the Giants are just a 2-point favorite here, going into late into the week.
Chaos will ensue.
Chaos. That game those are both teams where you watch them play and you're like, what is going on? Like, what's going on? What's going on? Like, do they know what's going on? Does anyone know what to do or what?
You know what's going on this week, Joe Smarge?
What's going on, LJ?
If you have anybody on the Giants offense any of their wide receivers, tight ends, running backs, quarterbacks, and if you have anybody in Philadelphia's offense, you are starting them. And that's the only thing you can count on.
Yeah, there's no defense in this game at all.
That long passes are going to sail into Victor Cruz's arms. And long passes or short passes are going to go into Deshaun Jackson's arms, and then he's going to run for another 70 yards.
Yeah, and Mike Vick's going to run around, and it's going to be crazy.
And LaShawn McCoy is going to be happy, and everybody's going to be happy this week.
So is 53.5 a high enough total in this game?
I think we should go over.
You like the over there, LJ?
Go over.
I think it's a little close. I think, but it's come back a bit. It looks like it opened at 55, so sure. We'll slam the over there.
Keep banging the over. What the hell? Why not?
Who do you think, ultimately, LJ, who do you believe wins this game? Just straight up, like, regardless of the spread. I wonder, who do you think is going to win?
Smarge, there's no predicting this. Both of these teams have been so unstable. Philadelphia, I would say, just because they've been a little more stable than the Giants. Just a little more stable than the Giants. That's it. Maybe that's it. That'd be the only thing I would think. It's just madness, Smarge. Madness in this game. I don't know what's going on.
Well, I don't know, LJ. I look at it and I think, before you said, it's probably going to be this big passing game with no real defensive play. I was thinking about it, and it's just the Giants, front four, their defensive front four is just not in good shape. They're just not. They can't. I think Philadelphia might be able to run the ball at them pretty effectively.
LaShawn McCoy.
Yeah. More than, but that may bode for, that may end up being a lower scoring game. I don't know.
They're going to score. They're going to score at will in this game. They will score at will in this game. Chicago is playing at home against New Orleans. I don't know what it says on your computer screen, but it says pick 'em on my screen.
Yeah, I got a straight up pick 'em. That's where it opened, and it hasn't moved much. There hasn't been a lot of, there'll be all kinds of late public money on both sides, and so I think it's pretty even.
I'm picking New Orleans.
I think New Orleans, I think there's some value to play New Orleans there. I'll get on the bandwagon after my.
But of course, it's Drew Brees outside, but it's going to be a nice fall afternoon. So
yeah, this is not like an ice bowl game or anything. The frozen field in Chicago or anything like that.
But this is going to be crazy. This is going to be one of the games of the week, just for fun to watch. I mean, you have Chicago, New Orleans, and the Giants in Philadelphia. This is going to be wacky.
Yeah, it's going to be an intense game. I can't wait for it.
Peanut Tillman can't wait. He has visions of interceptions dancing in his head, and stripped balls and everything else. Peanut's the best. He's what the honey badger could turn into one day.
Oh
Next,
man,
let's stay with the NFC North and go Green Bay at home against Detroit. And Green Bay has given up 7. How do you feel about that?
Let me see here. Sorry, LJ, I had a hard time finding it here. You're jumping around on me on the list.
All right.
Well, I think, I don't think Green Bay is a 7-point. I think Green Bay is a slight favorite to win. They have a home field advantage, but Detroit's just playing better and better. Now, they're still, Matt Stafford can be inconsistent at times. In high pressure situations, sometimes he'll just not play well. So, that could happen. Maybe that's why they give Green Bay the 7 there.
That's why they did. You and I both know that Detroit has not proven themselves just yet.
I think this is the season though for them still. I think we're going to see them build more momentum on this last win. So it's going to be a close game, LJ. I don't know. That's a tough one. It's tough to take Green Bay there.
You don't want to give up all those points, right?
Yeah, well, it looks like there's like 1 or 2 of the online sites have it complete, like it's off. Like they won't even give action right now. They're kind of in the bailiwick. So I don't know. That's a tough one. But I'm a Detroit fan, so I don't know what else to tell you there.
Well, if you have that, Green Bay's defense is not good. We've established that this year. So as a person who has people from Detroit on their fantasy team, this is a week that you could, count on Reggie Bush and Johnson and Stafford and the rest of the folks there to put up some numbers for you. Because Green Bay, I'm sorry, they're just not going to stop folks this year again. So, and Detroit's defense is getting better week in and week out. So this is a chance for upset time. If you're looking for anywhere to put a little money, I bet 10 Oreos on Detroit.
Yeah, I think Detroit's good here, and they also signed Kevin Ogletree. Now that's not necessarily a blockbuster move. He's not, it's not like he's a number one receiver, but he does add to the ranks of targets.
He's a third receiver,
and he may help give them some depth there as well. And I think that's a good thing for them. So I like your pick there, LJ. I think that's probably good for the 10 Oreos.
We got another good game at 1:00. Seattle on the road, playing in the Dome at Indianapolis, giving up 3 points.
Well, LJ, I think, Seattle is just so good. I don't do we don't do really like power rankings. I think a lot of them are stupid. A lot of them are really bad. Some of the power rankings that go around there. But I would say that Seattle really, to me, right now, looks like the best team in the whole NFL. I really believe that. I think they're better than any other team right now.
Yeah, if you were gonna do a currently good team, the scary part is Russell Wilson hasn't even gone off this year. It's been the defense that's leading him. Russell Wilson's had a below average year so far, and has managed not to lose any games for them, but he's not the dynamic superstar everybody was thinking. He's been a game manager, and he's been doing what he needs to do to win.
Yeah, and that's okay. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that at all. That's an effect that makes them a great team because they have the other pieces around them. They have a defense. They can run the ball. And, I know it's a passing league and all that, but at the end of the day, and you hit on this, LJ, earlier when you said that a lot of the teams that go deep in the playoffs aren't necessarily the best teams in the regular season. And that's because these teams that are built primarily on just passing and have no ability to run the ball whatsoever can't play the situational football that they need to win a single game in single elimination when they're in the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? And defense is the same way. Defense doesn't count for a lot in the regular season, but when you get down to a must-win situation, you got to have a defense and go out there and stop a drive if they need to.
Yeah, and Seattle's defense has major league clutch guys that can get interceptions, make big tackles, that type of stuff.
Richard Sherman, my friend. Richard Sherman is the second coming over there.
Yeah, they have one of the most dynamic defenders in all of football, and that just that separates them from the pack. And this is going to be a tough test. I mean, Indianapolis is no slouch, and Reggie Wayne looks like he's still a top receiver. This past week, he was making some good catches and getting open, and him and Andrew Luck look really good, like a really good combination. Everybody thought that Hilton was going to steal targets, but Reggie Wayne is still doing what Reggie Wayne does. And Indianapolis defense has gotten better. They haven't given up much in the way of points, and I don't know. This should be an interesting game to keep an eye on. If gun to my head, I'd have to take Seattle, but in the back of my head, I'm like, Indianapolis could pull off the upset here. I mean, Seattle's bound to lose a game or two. This could be one of them.
Yeah, that's a close one. You might just want to stay off that, but straight up, I like Seattle there.
Now we're gonna touch on the New England Patriots now.
Yeah, there's lots to talk about with the New England Patriots, LJ.
They're 4-0, but Will Wilfork's out now for
Vince.
I don't know how long.
Vince Wilfork is done. He's done for the season. He had his Achilles surgery, and he will not be returning, I don't believe.
And they play Cincinnati on the road. And if Wilfork was healthy, would New England be giving them points? Because right now they're getting 1.5 points. And it looks like with Wilfork out, he's as the experts have liked to point it out, he's one of the most irreplaceable players in all of football. which is bad for the Patriots when you say a guy is irreplaceable.
He is irreplaceable for them, LJ, in certain ways. And a lot of it is the overall sort of, what you get out of Vince Wilfork, and that most, 99% of the time he's healthy and he's there and he's out there on every snap and he anchors the line and he's a leader and he can stop the run hands down all day, every day. In the past, when he's been injured, they've been able to move some guys around and compensate for that through the course of about half a season, I'd say. So I think they can overcome it. But it's really tough to have to start doing it this week when you face the Bengals, who clearly can run the ball.
Yeah, I was just going to say the Bengals can actually run the ball. They're not good in the way of passing the ball, but they have the law firm and Bernard and an offensive line that can run block. And without Wolford in there, you're just going to see a lot of in between the tackles running until the Patriots have to stack the box, and then, A.J. Green becomes a major factor. But your boy, Talib, has been a very pleasant surprise. He's gotten better this year. The Patriots have a legit defensive back for the first time in a while.
That they do.
So A.J. Green's going to have somebody blanketing him. So, I don't know. I like New England here.
I like New England here too, but I think it's a tight game. I think this is one of those games. I think the line is pretty much dead on.
Is accurate.
Yes, they got that one right. And there's still much to do. It doesn't look like Gronkowski's going to play. We might have Amendola back in this game, but the stuff with Rob Gronkowski is starting to really puzzle me, because you've got the team saying one thing and Gronk and other people and his dad and stuff saying otherwise, and I don't understand. Their doctors are saying that he can play. He's saying he doesn't feel right. It's kind of like with Clay Buchholz and the Red Sox, and it just makes me wonder what's going on over there.
Team doctors are paid by the team, and if the team feels they need him back, they're going to push to get him back, and they're going to be like, Doc, what's going on? And if they feel like the doctor is giving them sound advice, they're going to tell the press the situation. If Rob Gronkowski doesn't feel like he's up to it, and it is his body, and if he's not feeling like he's ready to go, and he's clearly stating that, then there's a conflict, and we may need an arbitrator. I don't know. I have no idea what's going on.
We might need some arbitration, LJ. A
little arbitrator to figure out who's injured. Maybe we'll bring in Dr. Nick.
Yeah,
figure out what's going on.
Hello,
everybody.
It's interesting to note that this doctor in question, the doctor for the Patriots, is one of the doctors, is also one of the doctors for the Red Sox until I think last year, when they let him go due to a number of the medical staff issues that they were having with the Red Sox. But this guy is still a doctor, team doctor for the Patriots.
Oh, good Lord. So he's not a good doctor.
No, I don't know if he is.
Well, Joe Smarge, that was something I did not know. And that's actually pretty bad then. Well, then, Gronk, look out for yourself, because nobody else is going to do it.
No.
All right, now we have the worst team in football.
Oh, there's so many bad teams, LJ. Where are we?
Well, yeah, but this is Jacksonville. They're giving up 11 and a half.
My God.
No, they're getting 11 and a half against St. Louis, who looked awful. And then on a side note, if you look at next week's lines, they already have posted lines for next week. Jacksonville plays Denver next week. You want to know what the opening line is for that? They've actually put out a line.
It's got to be like 18 points or something like that. It's got to be like
26, Joe Smarge, 26.
Good gravy. Well, this game here this week opened at 2 touchdowns for St. Louis as being the favorite.
You know what?
And it's shrunk by about a field goal, but it's still.
I think I shared as much information as I wanted to about Jacksonville and St. Louis.
Yeah.
Honestly, I just wanted to get out there that the line with Denver was 26, but other than that, I don't really care.
Yeah, I don't see any. It's not. You can't take a good position on this because it's 11 and a half. It's not And St. Louis will probably beat them, no doubt, and Jacksonville will be awful, but I don't know that they're just going to skunk them out. You know, it's
will anybody watch this game?
No.
Will anybody even care?
No, it'll be negative ratings. They, I told you, I talked about this all summer. Jacksonville is just, they really should just pack it in and sell a team or something. I don't know.
They're giving away free beer now.
They're giving away beer. They're showing everyone else's games at their stadium.
They're giving away beer.
I imagine the tickets are probably some of the cheapest NFL tickets in the league, right?
They're just giving away beer now, man. They're just like, here you go, here's some beer. Please show up.
It's not enough, LJ. 2 Bud Light is not enough for me to sit through the Jaguars game.
That's true. You're going to need a quarter keg put right next to you in a big barrel of ice. That's what I would need.
They got to let fans tailgate like right on the side of the field or something.
That would be awesome.
Yeah. They should just have a carve out like at one end or somewhere where, seats suck anyway. You just have, because you go to NASCAR, that's the crazy thing about like the NASCAR thing, is there's that huge infield in the inside of the track and people can get passes to drive their RVs in there and they're watching from the top of the RV and all that. It's crazy. They should try to do that with the NFL. People would totally go for that. Tailgate inside the game.
Oh man. We need to get you hired in an NFL marketing department.
I need a job.
There you go. Joe Smarge is going to go start doing marketing for the Jacksonville Jags.
All I really want to do, LJ, all I really want to do is just do this show and maybe sell a few, good and useful products to some people or, stuff like that and just do that. But anyway.
You don't want to come up with gimmicks to sell tickets for bad football?
No.
All right.
No, I want to make football better.
Well, then this should be better for you. Miami, the Dolphins, who got blown out, as expected, kind of. New Orleans was good, and they're playing Baltimore in Miami, and they're only giving up 3. I think right now the Vegas has over adjusted. I think Miami is going to win this game by 10 points. And I think this is your game where you look for value. This is the game you can find some value this week.
Well, you're dead on, LJ, and I know I really whiffed with the Miami-New Orleans game last week, but Miami's still a very good team, and Baltimore is just not great. So, they're slightly above mediocre. I think Miami's definitely the better team. I think you're definitely right. You're looking at somewhere around that 10-point victory. So there's some value there for the Dolphins.
I like the idea of Miami this week.
I also think their offense might do kind of well against Baltimore. Maybe I don't know, do you like the over? It's 43.5. It's not terribly high.
I ain't messing with that.
No?
I don't like that at all. 43.5, I don't like it at all. You don't know what's going to happen.
Did we do,
did we talk about Kansas City and Tennessee?
No, I was just going to say, I think that's one of the last 1 o'clock games. We have this last one to do. We got Kansas City at Tennessee. Kansas City is the road favorite there, yeah.
Yeah, Kansas City is the road
favorite going into Tennessee.
Now, this is really just giving Kansas City a lot of credit. And it's also taking into account Ryan Fitzpatrick starting. We have the Ryan Fitzpatrick factor.
In Tennessee,
as Jake Locker sprained his hip.
Yeah, he threw his hip out, and so he's hurting.
So Kansas City's going to come in there and methodically beat them by 6 points. It'll be a close game. It won't be a pretty game. It'll be a whole lot of Kansas City doing good things on defense and managing not to lose the game on offense. And Kansas City, are they going to keep winning? Is this the week they trip up for the first time and lose their first game?
Absolutely not, LJ.
Oh, can't.
Not against Tennessee. I don't care if they're at home or on the road.
All right. Because Tennessee's not the worst team in football.
Well, they're worse than they were with Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Yeah.
Playing. So what, is all of a sudden Kenny Britt's going to be out there playing, he's going to throw to him, and it's going to be awesome, or are the rest of these guys just going to continue to suck?
Well, Kenny Britt's never going to be out there again on this team.
No,
he's done.
Not. I wish we could trade. I want the Patriots to trade for Kenny Britt. That would be genius.
Tennessee is 3-1, but we don't know for what Ryan Fitzpatrick is still capable of. So I would say stay away from that game. There's an unknown factor in there.
Yeah, I don't know. I like KC a lot there, LJ.
All right, Joe Smart, you have to answer me a question, though.
Sure, go ahead.
Oh, no, the question I already answered myself. San Diego and Oakland are playing at 11:35 Eastern Time.
At night?
At night. Because the Oakland A's are playing in
there's a playoff game.
So San Diego and Oakland Raiders got moved to 11:35 at night. So there will be a game on after the Sunday night game, the San Francisco-Houston game. There'll be another game on. So gamblers, if you've had a bad week, you can get right just taking San Diego. And I would lock in that line right now just in case you feel like you're going to have a bad week. Because that line's going to move Sunday night with how much action San Diego is going to be getting.
Yeah, it's already edged up a point since it opened, so you want to get your value in right now. Lock that one right up, San Diego there.
But there you go, 11:30 at night. Bookies are going to be working overtime this weekend.
We're going to be working overtime, LJ. I got to watch all these games.
That's crazy, though. An 11:35 starting time.
Yeah, we're going to watch a baseball game before that, LJ.
You can watch a whole bunch of stuff before that.
I have to watch all those things. And guess what, LJ? People forget, and we'll get to this more next week. This is the start of hockey season too. We're not going to do a full-blown hockey preview, but we'll definitely cover some of the early hockey action as once we get into the first month, it starts to you start to see how the teams are.
In my mind, hockey doesn't start until New Year's Day.
It's true, LJ. It's true, but there's some real diehard hockey fans out there, LJ. I think they would really appreciate some coverage from us, to talk about a great sport.
20,000 of them in every city.
Yes, that's a lot of people.
That's not a lot of people.
LJ, if we had 20,000 subscribers right now, can you imagine what would we be doing?
We'd be talking to 20,000 people instead of 20.
Yeah, we'd be in a big studio full of lights and everything.
No, we wouldn't.
Yes, we would.
20,000 people. 20,000 people. We'd have a minor league office somewhere in some industrial park.
That sounds good.
There you go. We wouldn't be looking for we wouldn't be big time yet with 20,000 subscribers.
Anyhow, moving on to the rest of the late games.
Here's a not big time game. Carolina is at Arizona, and Carolina is a favorite on the road. They're giving 2 to Arizona. The world is a little mixed up right now.
This seems way off to me, LJ. I'd like to Arizona should be able to stop Cam Newton, right? Cam Newton isn't injured, right? He's still playing. I haven't watched the Carolina game, so I don't know what's going on.
Carolina has been better than their record.
And they're coming off a bye week this week, right? They had the bye.
They're coming off the bye week, and they're good. I mean, they're still got Cam Newton whipping the ball downfield. They still got one of the best front sevens in all of football. They just happen to have one of the worst coaches in all of football.
Oh yeah, bad coaches.
Ron Rivera is a negative, not a positive. So that's I don't know. I wouldn't touch Carolina if you put a gun to my head. And I also wouldn't touch Arizona if you put a gun to my head. This is just a bad situation. Get your calculators out.
Okay, I'm crunching the numbers right now. We got it, buddy. What's up?
Denver is playing Dallas. In Dallas. Over-under on that game is 57.
Whoa.
I think Denver's already scored a touchdown. So
yeah, they're already ahead.
The over. And Denver is favored by 7.5 on the road at Dallas. Is this the week we finally get to see Peyton Manning's bubble get pierced a little?
No. Every one of these we do, LJ. It's like, no, dude. Dallas, the defense is going to slow down Denver? What's going to happen? How are they going to stop them?
I don't know.
There's no way Dallas can put a stop to that Denver offense
Let
at
me
home or abroad.
Let me officially open up the Denver Bronco backlash. I'm tired of them already. I'm sick of them. I'm sick of Peyton Manning and his face. I'm sick of his short, accurate passes. I'm sick of Demaryius Thomas being better than every other defensive back out on the field. And Wes Welker looks like he's on methamphetamine. Whenever he takes off his helmet, his eyes look so bugged out. All right? There's some Bronco backlash
There's
for
some
you.
Bronco slander for you.
There you go. I'm tired of it.
Oh man, that's rough. I mean, I understand, LJ. They gotta fall. I mean, they gotta lose a game somewhere. Something's gotta happen. But I just
Listen,
how can you have faith in Dallas here? Really? How can you believe in them at all?
I hope Dez Bryant scores 5 touchdowns this week. I hope all sorts of weird things happen. I'm so tired of Denver. The problem is Jason Garrett sucks as a coach.
Yeah, he does.
It's time for Dallas to cut bait and finally and Jerry Jones needs to finally suck it up and hire Bill Cowher like he's wanted to for years.
Yeah, LJ, we should just run that. Remember the picture we ran with the 4 coaches and all that? And it's like, we should just run that every week as our image. Because none of this is, I think things in Tampa Bay will come to a head pretty soon. I think that's just going to get out of hand really quick.
I still think that's the ideal spot for Lovie Smith to land. When I heard that, I was like, that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be a good spot for him.
It makes a lot of sense to put him there. A whole lot of sense. Maybe not this year, but definitely makes sense letting him, even let him have the rest of this year, see what he can do. I mean, there's a lot of veteran players on that team that would respond to him. Excuse me. All right. If you're going to gamble on this game, I guess Denver is going to be where all the money goes. You may get some late movement. You may get Dallas even more points.
Yeah, there's been huge, I mean, it opened at 4, they were giving Dallas 4, and it's moved up to 7 now, and it could be more than that, come game time. So, yeah, public money is just not knowing, everyone means it's big chalk there, I think everyone's
they are going to be
favorite for
Denver until Denver decides that they are not going to cover anymore, because Denver's just been covering week in and week out.
Yeah.
Now, here's a game you don't know what to make of. San Francisco's at home against Houston. Is Houston not a good team? Or are they just a bad or just a quarterback upgrade away from being a Super Bowl contender?
Well, there's been a lot. I mean, Matt Schaub is not, your top 5 quarterback, but I think he's a serviceable quarterback. But
he doesn't win the games when the game is on the line and they need a drive. He's not the guy. You can't count on him to take you down the field and win the game for you.
Yeah, I don't think they utilize him well. I think they have a very conservative offense there that really tries to rely on the running game, and they don't.
Because he's not that good a quarterback. And their best assets are their 2 running backs. I mean, Arian Foster and Ben Tate are better than the majority of better than 98% of the running backs in football.
Yeah, no doubt, LJ, but I don't think, I mean, we've seen glimpses of him being something more than just a mediocre quarterback, and he's done it for a period, small periods and stretches. But I feel like he has more potential than that, and they're not. I mean, look at how much the changeover can make a difference with a guy. I don't know.
And J.J. Watt's still the best defensive player.
Yeah, that's no doubt. Yeah, that's hands down.
But there's your best defensive player. Because he is always in the backfield. He is always disrupting everything. He is just unreal. Bigger, stronger, faster. This week he was bleeding everywhere. Did you see that? He got hit in the face. He was bleeding. Looked like a boxer that took one to the face.
Oh, yeah.
They're just crazy. San Francisco, I mean, San Francisco is just going to run the ball the rest of the year. I think that's all they need to do. They seem to get like 30 yards at a chunk when they run the ball.
Yeah, San Francisco can definitely run the ball, and I think there's, they've had some ups and downs. they don't look like the world beaters that they did in that we thought after the first week. But they still look like a really good team. I think Houston's just not playing up to its abilities. I think it's a better team than what we've seen, but I don't know that they're definitely not like a Super Bowl team. I don't know if they're built to go deep in the playoffs. So I like San Francisco here, but it's 6.5, 7. That can be a little tough, but it might be a good item for your to put in a teaser if you can get some points there.
Yeah, I would put money on San Francisco in a teaser.
Yeah, definitely.
And get some points for San Francisco. Atlanta on Monday night at home versus the Jets of New York City. Actually, New Jersey, but yeah. Who do you like here? I guess Atlanta. I mean, the Jets are just not good.
Yeah, the Jets are in my bottom of the barrel of the NFL teams. So Atlanta's just sort of a default favorite here. I mean, they're still a good team. I think they can take care of the Jets pretty easily, and I don't really want to get any action on this game. It's 9.5, so that's kind of tough there. But I think they will put a pretty good stomping on the Jets.
And then look who has bye weeks this week: Minnesota, Pittsburgh, Tampa Bay, and the Redskins. It's like they decided, all right, we're going to give all the bad teams a week off.
Give RG3 a week to rest up that knee some more. He needs that. He definitely needs that rest.
Yeah, he needs a new coach. That's what RG3 needs. RG3 needs new management. That's what's going on over there. That's it. So, Smarge, do you have anything to say about hockey since it's hockey season?
Well, I didn't really get to get into a lot of the hockey. There's today's the first games, I think, and then we do have Bruins, I think, on Thursday.
It kicked off yesterday.
Or it was yesterday? Okay, so
yeah.
I didn't get to catch those hockey games, but starting next week, we'll start getting into it. And also, we have the NBA season is approaching. We're going to try to get Smitty back on here and do the whole NBA roundup, preview roundup in the next week or two.
NBA.
And, yeah, that'll be fun, LJ. NBA. There's one good little NBA tidbit here. They're talking about this in the local radio. Chris Paul came out and said that Doc Rivers told him that he was nothing, that he hadn't really achieved anything yet. As a player in the NBA, and that they're going to go and win. They're going to win some championships, and then he'll really know what it means.
Nah, you know who's talking shit though? Paul Pierce is talking shit about the Knicks.
No, LJ, I'm not saying this is shit talking. This is like some, Phil Jackson, Zen kind of he knows how to motivate guys. And Doc Rivers is one of the few guys in the league who could get away with that. Not every coach could say that to someone like Chris Paul.
Well, yeah,
and not just not have respect.
Well, yeah, of course, Doc Rivers can get away with that. Doc Rivers has got that gravitas. He's got that ring. He had a long career. He played against a lot of good guards. He has a resume that allows him to say things like that. Now, if that was another guy that didn't have the resume, then yeah. But, I mean, Doc Rivers comes in with the resume, and he's allowed to say things like that to Chris Paul. And Chris Paul is a guy who's no nonsense, who doesn't put up with bullshit from people below him he feels that are not as good as him. Like I hear he can't stand Blake Griffin because Blake Griffin likes to play a little too flashy and doesn't like to put in the hard work. Doesn't want to learn the footwork it takes to develop a good jump shot. Doesn't have the desire that Chris Paul does to win. So you can understand why Doc Rivers would say something like this to a guy like Chris Paul, because Chris Paul will respond to it in the proper way. Now, this was during Media Day. Media Day also brought out Paul Pierce talking just a lot of smack. How when he was with the Celtics, he didn't like the Knicks. And
really? I didn't hear about. I hadn't seen this.
Oh yeah, he doesn't see that changing. That this is the year that they're going to win the championship. He didn't come here just to go out in style. He didn't come here just to retire quietly. He wants to win another championship. He's all in with the Nets. He's decided this is going to be a good situation, not a bad situation.
Well, that'll be fun to watch as well.
I think the Nets are going to be boring as hell to watch. It's going to be a lot of, you know, pound the ball, jump shot, pound the ball, jump shot. It's going to look pretty ugly, but it's going to be effective.
Oh, but it'd be fun to go to those games like at the Garden or in Brooklyn, and you got Celtics and Nets games. Be intense,
you know,
LJ.
All the people within New England in the tri-state area, start making your plans. The All-Star game is going to be co-hosted by Brooklyn and the Knicks in 2015.
Nice.
So if you've ever wanted to see the dunk contest live and in person, and you live in the New England or the tri-state area, this is your chance. Start saving your pennies now, because it's probably going to cost you an arm and a leg.
Well, LJ, I think that's pretty much going to do it for us. But just want to remind everybody and thank everyone for listening. And if you want to support the show, just check us out on our website, freeagentspodcast.com. And if you go there, you'll find all our links to subscribe on iTunes and find us on Facebook and all that stuff's right there. So just go there and you'll see all those icons right there. And just send us a like, comment, etc., etc. And thanks again for listening.
And there you go.
All right. Peace.